Hi guys, and welcome to another basement review by Diminias. And today we're looking at RWBY episode 10. That's right, we made it to episode 10. Congratulations to Monty Ohm and all the guys over there at Rooster Teeth who are working extremely hard to keep episodes rolling out the door for us. Anyways, we pick up RWBY where we left off, obviously, where we're in Peter Port's class. And he's about to release a monster of Grimm to fight Weiss, because Weiss apparently has something to prove. Let's face it, this is a girl that seems to have a chip on her shoulder. And I think what she's trying to prove, and what we find out to be very much true, is that she's a little mad that RWBY ended up as team leader. She feels that she should have been the team leader. Obviously, because she's Weiss Schnee. Why shouldn't she be team leader? So Weiss continues kind of in that bitch mode yet, but it's kind of soft-core bitch mode, I call it. It's not full-out I hate RWBY bitch mode, but it's kind of annoying, let's face it. But it's there for good reason. Anyways, Peter Port releases this monstrous creature of Grimm for Weiss to fight. And she takes a couple approaches, like attacking it head on, losing her weapon, and then basically running for her life. Finally coming back to her weapon, and then RWBY, being the team leader, basically says, aim for its stomach. It doesn't have any armor on its stomach. And Weiss, being the bitch right now, basically looks at RWBY, loses complete concentration, and says, don't tell me what to do. And to me, at this point, we probably should have been beyond this, but this is kind of a classic anime move where, okay, I accept you as a fighter, but I still don't accept you as, say, a leader. And that's exactly what's going on here. We've seen this in countless animes. Anyways, Weiss ends up blocking the monster's attack using a piece of magic. I don't know what style it was. Then she jumps up in the air and she uses one of her magic again in order to jump forward at the beast and strike at its stomach, which then eliminates the beast, obviously. Then we get an interesting scene where RWBY seems to be very excited for Weiss. Yet Weiss belittles RWBY, says that she's not really a good leader, says that her appointment as leader of Team RWBY was an absolute mistake, which is kind of funny because as RWBY turns around, there's Professor Ozpin, and Weiss runs off to be what seems to be basically be consoled by Peter Port, the professor of the class in which he just slayed a monster. And basically, RWBY asks a question of Ozpin. Am I really a mistake? And it's interesting the way Ozpin starts, as he says, I've made many, many mistakes. And then on the other half of it, you got Weiss asking Peter Port, should I have been the leader of Team RWBY? And Peter Port basically starts by saying, that's preposterous. Ozpin has never led me wrong. So you get two completely different views of the same person. Ozpin believes that he's made a ton of mistakes, whereas Peter Port always seems to think that Ozpin has been perfect. And maybe that's true. Or maybe it's not. Maybe we're getting kind of an embellishment. Maybe we're getting two sides of the story, and two people completely disagree. One person just happens to think, he's a piece of shit, and the other one seems to think he's God. But it was kind of a funny moment, in my opinion, the way, and it's nice to see Ozpin with a lot of humility, because he's kind of the wise guy, the person you go to for advice in the series. And for him to basically be saying, I've made a ton of mistakes, is important. Because this guy's not going to be an uptight asshole who doesn't make mistakes. Somewhat like Weiss is right now. And Peter Port basically sets Weiss straight and says, listen, you're very talented, but you're not proving to us that you should have been a leader by being an absolute bitch and a terrible teammate. You may have the blood of a huntress, but you're a terrible teammate and you have a terrible attitude. Somebody finally said it. Thank God. Because RWBY was not going to say it. And RWBY basically gets reassured by Ozpin to say, listen, it's been one day. You can't judge a leader for one day's work. So RWBY basically gets a, okay, you may be a mistake, but we don't know yet type answer, which I don't think is I can't talk, sorry. I don't think that's exactly what she's looking for, but I think she took a little bit of what Weiss said to heart. Basically, you didn't study, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, and she's going to make herself a better leader. And that's important, is Ozpin and Weiss have kind of set her on the right direction, whereas Weiss, confiding in Peter Port has set her in the right direction. And the scene in the room where Weiss basically says, hey, you need some coffee, makes her up some coffee, bang, here you go, keep studying, and I'm going to try and be the best teammate that I can be. So hopefully this is the end of bitchy Weiss, at least in a sense that I have a terrible attitude type, I don't want to go to work type thing, like every person in America on a Monday morning. So hopefully that's the end. As far as the episode goes, plot, very little plot. Character development, hopefully a ton. Hopefully RWBY understands that she needs to earn the respect of her teammates. She needs to understand and be able to lead these teammates into battle. So knowing your opponents, knowing what each one of your teammates is capable of, knowing what type of teamwork and skills each person has that to bring to the table is also important. And on the other hand, Weiss needs to understand that she's not Weiss Schnee. She's not going to get everything she wants anymore. She's just Weiss to these people. She's a friend. So yes, she's the heiress of a very powerful family, but here she's just another huntress in training. And she needs to respect the leadership that's been placed above her, and if she thinks she can do better, then she needs to prove it by example, not just bitch and bitch and bitch, and you get the point, because that seems to be about all she's good for. Anyways, guys, you might be able to hear the lightning storm outside, so I'm going to cut the video right here. Please like, subscribe, and comment. If you didn't like what I said, please comment below. Tell me what you didn't like. If you did like what I said, just tell me I did a good job. All right, guys, take it easy. Bye.